Hi guys, today we're unboxing and setting up a PS4 Controller LED kit. So this particular one is from eXtremeRate. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links. So the idea behind this particular kit is taking your existing PS4 controller, opening it up, and the areas where the buttons are, the joysticks here, and the trigger points, you'll have an LED kit behind that. So it will glow in the dark, and that lighting is configurable and it can be turned on and off as you want. So let's take a brief look at the packaging and see what you get in there. So it comes in a brown box. Opening it up, you get a bag containing some of the components. I'll show them in a bit. You get a card saying you get a 1-year warranty on this. Installation guide for this, and what's quite nice about this, all the pictures are in color, so very clear instructions on how to set this up. You get a bag of screws, you get components for the controller and some tools to assist with opening up, so you don't have to buy any additional tools for this pack. So let's make a start at installing this kit on this controller. So the first thing we want to do, if we spin the controller around, there's 4 screw locations, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, so we can remove those screws with a screwdriver in the pack. So let me remove them next. The screws are removed. What we need to do is take off the back cover. There's an orange tool over here, and this tool's used to pull out the back plate here. So the way we need to do this is carefully open it up at the back here. There you go. It's come open, and then we use the tool to prise it open. Now, working your way around there, it will pop open. Once it does, this is what it reveals, and you can see there's a cable linking the back to the board on the controller, and it's just a matter of gently pulling this out. There you go, that's disconnected. Now we can put that safely to the side. Next thing you'll see is the battery on here, so it's worth unplugging that. So if you don't, obviously the components are still running on there, so definitely worth taking that off. And it is just a matter of pulling this clip off, and then if I move the wire, battery just moves out of place. There you go. Next thing we want to do is remove the screw there. We want to take this plastic plate off, and the pack actually comes with some tweezers. It sometimes helps just using that just to lift away the corner here. And there you go, that side's come up. And similar on this side, it's just clipped in. There you go, that's out. Now coming in close, you can see there's a cable connected onto the board there. So we need to remove that. So if you carefully pull that out, what we want to do, we want to slide it into this location, and that'll enable us to take the board out. I carefully maneuver it, there you go, it's come away. And that's the whole idea of pushing it in so it doesn't get damaged in any way. Now that's what we're left with, and what we want to do is remove all the buttons using the tweezers. So it's just a matter of pulling this up, and then we can use the tweezers to pull these up. That's all the buttons off. Next we need to get the touchpad off, and that's just a matter of twisting it in and it just comes off. It's easy as that. Now looking at the touchpad, what we want to do, we want to remove this area here. So there's a clip at this side and on the other side. If I hold them down, it just comes off like so. Just gently move that. And there you go, it's come away. Next we take the part from the box and we can place it in position. So just feed it through, and it just sits back in position like so. We can move on to installing the buttons. So they're all clear, as you can see. So taking them out, so you can see there's no indicator on there, so we can put it any which way we want. So it doesn't matter the order it goes in. Got the side one here and the center PS button, and then we can place the rubber back on there. Now the rubber's all back in place. You can just see it's firmly in position. The idea being all the buttons should be held in place. You can see the little black areas there where it's holding the rubber in place. Next we need to put the touchpad back in there, and that comes in from the back like this, just how we took it out, and sits back into position like so. Next we can move on to the 2 joysticks and the triggers over here. So that's just a matter of pulling them off. Now with the triggers, it's just a matter of pulling them out gently careful they don't get locked in at the bottom. There's hooks on there. You can see the two holes there, it could get hooked on. So careful with that. Now on the two lower triggers, you can see there's a slight latch there that's hooking it on. So if I move it up and unlatch it, there you go. That's come off the latch, and then it's just a matter of pulling it off. You can see there's 2 points there, one at the other side, and it's just a matter of pulling it off and it unhooks. Next thing is there's two bits of rubber. We want to carefully take them off. Now this is what we're left with. Next we can move on to installing the LED kit. So that's what comes in the bag over here. Now on the LED kit, what you can see, there's some lines on the areas here. So you can see one there, and it's just a matter of bending them and making it nice and tight there. So we bend it back. Again, there's some lines here. Do the same there. And now what we need to do, we need to place it in position. So the existing membrane here, that stays in position, and we just place this directly on top. And you can see it fits in quite well. So sort of matches up. So first of all, this strip here, this connector, goes through here and comes out the other side. Now for that, we just need to lift off the board over here. So that's clipped in a little bit at the side there and a little bit at the other side, just up here. By moving that. Okay, so that's in position. That sits on there. And these areas here can bend across. There you go, that's in position. Next thing, if we look underneath here, you can see the connector come across and it sits on top of the existing one. So if you look, the existing one's just there, and there's two clips at the side, and that can just hook onto the clips there. You can place this back in position. Just make sure it clips in. Now, next thing I want to do is secure this LED kit on there. So if I lift this up, there are some plastic tags, one there, one over here. And what it is, it's just a matter of taking it and pushing it on. So it just clips into position. So if I push it on, that end's clipped on, that's clipped on, one over here, that's clipped on, and finally one over here. So there you go, that's better. And there you go, it's securely in position now. Looking at the two triggers, there's clips here as well, so it just needs to be pulled down and clipped into position. And there you go, that's in. And the other one's in as well. Next, we need to put the rubber for the triggers back into place. You can see one has a hole, the other one doesn't, and it's just a matter of putting it back where the one with the hole is at the bottom. So we can just place it in position. And then there's a hook at the bottom there. We can just push in the other end. And there you go, that one's sitting in the position. We do the same with the other end. And there you go, they're both in position now. Next we can put on the bumpers and the triggers. Make sure you get the right one on. So the left one is on this side, and that's just a matter of just pushing it on like this. Next, let's put on the right hand side one, and just to highlight, there is a notch there and it sits into place, and we just push it in position and it clips in. For the lower triggers, right hand side one here, sits in position, there's a notch there, push it in, and then push the bottom bit and it hooks on. Same for the other side, push it into position and then push it back and it clips on. Once the triggers and bumpers are on, best to have a go just to make sure it feels okay. That feels good. Now coming over this side, for the joysticks, the two ones here, you've got the LED component there, and the way it works, there's a sticky pad on the back, and you just feed the cable around a little bit, take the sticky pad off, and then with the cable tightly in position around, you can just place it directly on there. There you go, that's on. Do the same with the other side. Next we can put on joysticks, and you can see it's rectangular in fitting, just looking at that as well. It's just a matter of just pushing those back on. Once it's on, it's definitely worth having a quick look and just making sure the wires are nicely tucked in, so don't get in the way in any way. And if I come in close as well, you can see it's slotted in just behind there. And again, have a good move around as well, just to make sure it feels okay. Now the LEDs are on the main board, we can put the cover back on, and this is the bit with the buttons on. Keep a note of the ribbon cable over here. Obviously that needs to go through the area there very carefully, make sure you don't damage it. Okay, the ribbon cables come through, you can just pull it up gently. Make sure it's all sitting into place, and then we just need to slot it back into position. Ribbon cable's in position now, and you can see a white line there that indicates it's correctly in position. We can move on to this area here. Now with this, we just pull off the plastic pieces here, and then what we've got here, we've got a bag with another charging point and connectors on there. So this is the charging point there. So you can see the hole just over there, and it's just a straight replacement for this. So we just remove the screw, put this in place, and with this there's also a black ribbon cable, just to show it's this one here. Now first thing we need to do before we remove the other part, we just connect this up. And the way this goes, the copper side goes on the other side, and the black side gets slotted in. It's just a matter of lifting this up, and you can see the contacts just underneath there. Just slot that in, and then push that over to lock it in position. As simple as that. Next we just need to replace the part here. So let me unscrew that, and you can see on here, the screw out, there's a bit of tape here. So we just need to loosen that tape up. Okay, now with that tape out of the way, we can lift that away. Place the new one in position, line up the holes, put the tape down, and then put the screw back in. Screws in position, and you can just double check by just making sure the power point's lined up. Now we can put the plastic bits back on. Next, let's put the plastic cover back on here. So coming over here, tighten up the screw. The next thing we want to do, we're going to take the two ribbon connectors on here and connect the thinner one to this location here and the wider one to this location. And in terms of connections, obviously remember the copper part goes downwards on this one. And there you go, that's locked into position. And with this one, you can just about see very subtly the contacts are at the top, so the copper end should go in this way. And there you go, that's in position now. Now looking at the back, you've got two cables coming off here, and one of them gets plugged into the main board just over here. And if I take that and plug that in and make sure that's firmly in, and the other one gets connected to the battery. As soon as you connect it, you'll see the lights come on. There you go, the lights have come on, so that confirms it's working. So next with the battery, just put that back into position. And there's a small area here, cable just hooks underneath there, and just make sure the cables are nice and tidy before you put the cover back on. So just ensuring it doesn't latch onto anything there, and the ribbon as well at the side, make sure that's nice and tidy. Now, as we're closing it, just make sure everything's nice and tucked away, nothing's going to get caught up in anything at the sides. So as we're closing it, what you want to do, just use your tweezers and just move things about to make sure it doesn't get caught in anything. So if I look at the front area here, you can see the cable sticking out. So obviously you want them going inwards. Combination of tweezers and your fingers, just just make sure it just sits nicely in position. As you're pushing into position, slowly just make sure you check all the areas in case a wire's sticking out or anything. Now that's sat in okay. Coming around this way, literally there. It's clipping in, I can hear it clip in. So now that looks good. You can see the lights have turned on. Looking good so far. Buttons feel fine as well. So what we can do, we can put the 4 screws back in now on the back. Now this is what it looks like, obviously with the screws back on and the LEDs on. Now the LEDs can be controlled, so you can turn them off if you wanted to. So if I hold on to the left bumper here, press the right button and the square button here. So press them at the same time for 10 seconds. And there you go, turns off and it's just plain again, no lights. And turn them back on, same thing again. So the left bumper, right button and square. Just hold on to it for 10 seconds again. There you go. In terms of colors with this, you're not limited to just having red. You can change the colors on this. Now to do that, you hold on to the left bumper and the square button for 5 seconds. And now what happens is the areas you want to change the color, they start flashing away. So in terms of selection, there's different areas on here. So this is one area. Another area is the joystick here, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. So 7 areas on here you can change. So you can't change individual colors. So if you're expecting to do that, it's not going to do that. You've got red, press it once, then you've got green, blue, yellow, pink, purple, cyan, and then you've got gradient. So this is where it alternates between different colors. Next you've got fast blink, so it blinks the colors, and then you've got colorless. So if you didn't want any colors going on there, you could do that as well. So if I come across, pick a color, so we'll go for green. If you like the color, you press the left bumper and the square and it saves it and it moves on to the next area. So now with this, go next, cycle through the colors. Once we've chosen our one, save it, moves on to the next one, and again, move along. Now you can't go back, you just keep going forward. So if you've missed the color and you want to go back, you just got to keep continuing until you come back to it. Pick another one next to that. Now you've got the area here. Now once you've picked your colors and you're happy with it, you just hold on to the left bumper and the square for 5 seconds again to get out of this, and it saves the config on there. And there we have it, simple as that to program. Now with the color options, it is pretty cool. You can make the controller very unique to yourself, and I think the best one on there is the gradient, only because it's quite nice seeing the colors transition. You can see for yourself, transition's pretty smooth on there as well. Here's the fast blink in action. I personally didn't like that. I prefer the gradient one, but again, what your preference is. The blinking can be a little bit distracting. Now in terms of brightness levels, seems pretty good. You can see for yourself, if you are finding it distracting, obviously you can turn it off. So it would have been nice if they had an option to reduce brightness levels or increase them if you wanted. So if it was too bright for you, you could take it down. Now installing the actual lighting kit, it's not too bad. Just got to note, you've got to be really careful as you're opening it up, just to make sure you don't damage any of the components inside. And even when you're putting it back together, be very careful with this. It is very easy to damage some of this, so obviously don't yank on it too hard. Use the parts it comes with, for example, the prizing tool. Don't try and prize too much with your fingers. And again, if it isn't moving, just be very gentle with it. So I hope it's helped anyone thinking of purchasing this LED kit. Very cool addition to customize your controller to be more unique to yourself. Details are in the description below, including purchasing links. Hang around for the end cards, I'll have some more cool gaming tech. Drop me a like if you liked this video. Let me know what you thought of this LED kit. If you haven't liked it, let me know why you haven't liked it. Thanks for viewing and see you in the next one.